Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the podcast, Boys Don't Cry. Boys Don't Cry because all my life I've heard this. I grew up hearing this. I grew up watching stuff about this. Boys don't cry, boys don't cry, boys don't cry, boys don't cry. Hence the name of my podcast, Boys Don't Cry, because I have heard this all my life. So here we are, first guest that I have. It was only fitting that I start my conversation, really start getting into what is it about mental health and males in our community, in our society, especially Muslim males, the focus on that really stops us from talking about it. And my first guest on Boys Don't Cry, talking about mental health and why is it such a difficult topic is one of my very good friends. I've known him since before he did all the good, crazy stuff that he's been doing. And mashallah, first Muslim American to document more than 100 masajid. Yes, you heard that right. 100 masajid across the United States and met with so many Muslim communities, community members, community leaders across the United States. And also recently, if you happen to be in Dallas, Fort Worth, you must have heard about, known about, seen, or visited one of his story nights. And he's also the founder of Bukharee Retreats. Yes, that was a giveaway. Bukharee Retreats, where Muslim men travel together, uh, are together, and have a spiritually driven, adventure-filled experience where it's not just about adventure and tourism. It is having conversations, having discussions, having reflection um, in context of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and being Muslim brotherhood and the greater Ummah. So, my guest today, let me bring him in, is Sohail Bukharee. Welcome to Boys Don't Cry, Sohail. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam rahmatullah. Brother Umar, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be at your podcast. I'm so excited to talk about something that's very important and something that needs to be talked about. And I think you're doing a great job at bringing awareness to it. And I think it starts with discussion, and that's what we are trying to do here today.
Absolutely. All right. So now that I've got my view right on YouTube, yes, talking about YouTube, we are streaming live on YouTube. Khan Umair, Khanumayr. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, concerns, please feel free to share because if there are any questions, comments that pop up on YouTube, we're going to be sharing those and we're going to be talking about that. But with that, let's just dive straight into it. First question, boom, boom. Why is it so hard to talk about mental health, especially in Muslim community, not just in Desi community, but in Muslim community? Why is it so freaking hard?
Well, I think whether you hit the nail right on the head, straight to it, because I think for me, after going to so many Muslim communities, what I've realized is that it has a lot to do with trying to succeed, and mental health is seen as a barrier to success. And a lot of times when we talk about our Muslim communities, faith itself becomes a pressure instead of a source of healing. So if you're trying to be a good Muslim, mental health will be seen as something that's making you weak. And there's a constant shame around it, all around it. So a lot of young people, especially Muslim youth, men in general, they are told to be, mard ban, man up, right? Be a man and a strong Muslim. That hadith of a strong believer is more beloved to Allah than a weak believer. And all of these things, although they're true, but we're not really getting to the bottom of the issues here. And because of that, we see a lot of cases that have happened. In the UK, a few years ago, there was a Pakistani young guy who just took his life. And obviously, he was the only son. And um, after a lot of research, they found out he had a lot of stress from his parents and also his community. We had something very tragic happen few years ago, right within our DFW metro area, where two twins did a murder suicide uh, of their families and then themselves. So this is and we are always in a reactive mode. The masajid will always talk about it after the fact, and that's too late by then. I mean, it's good that now it has become started, but most of it is there's one night where we talk about it and then we forget about it till the next thing happens. So I think there should be constant um, discussion about it, but most of the time it's because it's a cultural stigma and we don't want to be associated as being weak. As immigrants, I think it's also because most of the time we see this mental health issues we associated with first world problems. We say, oh, these people are weak. They've reached a stage of wealth where now it's all about drugs, and they see that, we see immigrants see that as weakness. And now look, we are all about IT and education, and look how we've made it in America. We're the highest um, earners in the US in terms of IT and all of that. And so if you talk about mental health and the pressures, the our community see that as something that, oh, this guy has some he has some demons inside him, some
कोई
jinn.
मसला है, कोई कुछ खराब चल रहा है. Yeah.
They see that
So
as a disease. Yes.
yeah, so interesting thing. So we spoke about cultural, religious aspect of it. More cultural, more religious, you believe, because what I have seen growing up, that more on the cultural side, because we want to, at the end of the day, everything that we do as a cultural aspect of it is, what will people say? Log kya kahenge? As if logon ne hamari zindagi guzarni hai, sari people are going to drive our lives. So is it more cultural? Religion has a lot of impact on it. That hey, no, just do namaz, roza, everything, and everything's going to be okay. Where do we kind of miss the trick here? And
I
this, I'm
think.
talking mostly about people who are outside of Pakistan.
Hmm. I would say that obviously, there's a big gap between the first generation and the second. The first generation obviously is carrying a lot of baggage from back home, which shapes their mentality. At the same time, I understand they grew up in that be a man and this is all waste of time, and focus on your grades and focus on your achievements, your milestones. Look how look at them is always there. Look, and the comparison, right? I
Look
know
at your
you talk
cousin,
about
look at your brother, look at
it.
so and so's daughter.
And it's hard for people not to do that when, especially, I see that a lot of parents are trying to make sure that their kids are in every activity. Let's talk about new parents, for example. They want them to be competing in martial arts or swimming or all of these different activities. But I do think that there comes a point where parents are kind of offloading their responsibilities instead of talking to their children. Um, that connection, I love this brother that I recently met. I'm just giving an example that he said something that I've never heard before. He said that we have a culture of dawat here a lot, right? Here in Texas, especially in our cultures as well, where we go and meet people all the time. But what I love that he said, I'm canceling this weekend's plan so that I can just talk to my young sons. His sons are like 8 and 10. And he said, I'm not going to go anywhere. And I just want to talk to them, which I've never heard before. A man say, I want to talk to my son for for the rest of the evening. No TV, no nothing. So I was like, this is what we should be doing. He said no video games for them. We have a limitation.
Right.
Uh, so I think obviously I'm jumping to the solutions, but I want to get back to the problem as well, that cultural baggage is a big thing. Religious people have a big issue as well. Spending time with both sides, I've seen that with the religious people, it's more about faith, that there's too much pressure sometimes to be a good Muslim, that you're not really helping the one who's just entering yeah.
I'm glad you brought that point. So culture tells us or has taught us, I've seen growing up, you're a man, you need to be strong. If you're going to admit something's wrong in your head, you are showing weakness. So we don't want to do that. Especially mothers have been so critical of, I mean, raising boys. I have seen way back when I was a kid. So the culture side of it establishes that conditioning. I spoke about it in my previous video. And then the religion, where religion tells you namaz, roza, worshiping, praying, absolute faith in Allah. But somewhere along the line, we forget that being mortal Muslims, we are still breakable. We are still faulty. We are still not perfect. And there has to be that combination where we realize. So you think we kind of dropped the ball on both sides? We're misinterpreting both sides of our identity?
Yeah. I think, you know, when people use the term toxic masculinity, why aren't we getting to the root of where this came from? How do men become toxic in the first place? You gave a great example of how mothers can turn men into toxic men, right? Boys into toxic men by their certain behaviors and how they want to be treated and how they treat other women. So there's a cycle that keeps happening. At the same time, what we do is fathers, for example, we sometimes there's some tough love going on, and there's never a soft love that they get to see of the side of their father. They don't want to see they don't want to show weakness. So what that happens is it shuts down the the I would say the part where a man wants to open up anymore. I've seen so many men in masajid. Just yesterday, I saw that as well. That they are coming to the masajid, but they just either they say salam and sit down in a corner, and I can see this guy wants to share, open up, share, but because we've had that conditioning of just just keep it inside,
Yeah.
no need to share. And when they do share, they still, you meet them the next time, they're like, oh man, I can't share, I can't show weakness because I'm the man of the house. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Another thing, is this because before I get there, we've got two comments, 99 names of Allah. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for joining. You're right, it is a cultural stigma, they say. And then Zahid Sayed, mashallah, great start. Congrats. Thank you, Ramit Zahid, and whoever you are, 99 names of Allah. Please, we are streaming live on YouTube. So coming back to this, is it also that when males, let's say there is a certain individual, okay, I'll just put myself on the spot, Umar Khan wants to start talking about it, or he wants to go into the feeling expression mode rather than thinking expression mode. The feeling expression mode, Americana, is shut down because, oh, no, 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 we don't want to talk about this. You're only good when you're looking at thinking expression mode because you're just practical and you're black and white. So we don't want the softy feeling, emotional, American. How much of a part that plays that if it happens, let's say, in front of parents growing up, then that Umar Khan completely starts shutting down as he gets into adolescence, adulthood, friends, relationships, wife, kids, bosses. How does that, those events lead up to this closure, absolute closure of this guy?
Big time. I would say that it's basically an arc that's in progress, where a lot of conditioning, as we know from psychology, that parents and the environment that you grow up makes a big difference. And obviously, unfortunately, we're not really raising leaders of the community. So what ends up happening is, for example, this person, they go through that, they grow up, now they are the man of the house, obviously, as a provider in Islam and all, emotionally intelligent that they should be. Unfortunately, they're not. And now they have to put on a persona in front of their wife, their kids, their co-workers, their community. And it's always like a poker face where you're hiding, you're suppressing your inner feelings. Sure, you know, you don't need to be vulnerable in front of everybody, but if there's underlying issues happening and you have nobody to talk to. Another big factor with men, Muslim men right now is we don't have any real friends. We don't have any real brothers to talk to, like a closed network. We don't have best friends anymore as we used to have back when we were kids. Everybody's busy, everybody's doing their own thing, but I think sometimes even small talk can make a big difference when you go to the masjid. And I think it really, you have to share it. Sometimes you have to share it with your wife. Sometimes that is also not enough because I do believe that, for example, I would say that when my wife went to my in-laws, for example, once, I realized that I don't have anybody else to talk to. Right? So even though I have so many connections within the communities, but I'm talking about real conversation that I can
Real
pick up the phone
close.
and call
Mm.
somebody. And that's when I realized, oh wow, we really have to work on this connection with other people because you need that two, three people to talk to just to feel that okay, I have somebody here. So
Right.
I think it does need to begin from that. Otherwise, we have emotionally distant fathers, emotionally distant husbands. Marriages are gonna start suffering if you're not even able to have a conversation with your spouse and family members. And that generational trauma will just keep going on.
So before I get into another set of questions, how important is it for just like females to receive reciprocation, males to receive reciprocation, since we are talking about men's mental health? So if this one poor guy, he wants to talk, he wants to say something, even so far as to suggest, okay, you know what? I'm willing to speak with a professional on this because clearly there is some problem that I cannot handle. You've been trying to help me, but you cannot handle it. So I need some professional. To what extent have you seen, being community, mashallah, you're so well connected, you've met so many people. How do you see people open to that, that feeling of I need help and it being reciprocated? You know what, brother? Let me connect you with someone who can actually help you in this regard. Or is it just, I mean, brushed away and that person now exited out of the circle?
I think we're in very early stages of that as a community, because we are just starting to talk about it. But I'm glad that we are talking about it. Obviously, there's a lot of people that have lost themselves, their lives, or whatever they're going through. May Allah make it easy for them that they are still going through that. But I think as a community, we are just starting to talk about it. What I really want to highlight right now is Dr. Rania Awad. She is running the Muslim Mental Health Lab in Stanford University. She's running Maristan. The name is obviously derived from our Islamic legacy, which used to happen back in the golden age of Islam, right? So this psychology, mental health, help, and all of these things were very much part of our tradition and Muslim culture in back in Muslim countries, and unfortunately it got lost somehow and we started not taking it seriously. But I do feel that that's just one person doing that, right? Slowly, but I do feel that women are pioneering this more than men. Men are nowhere close even talking about this because, again, we have that shield in front of us that, oh, this is a woman's problem. Women are emotional, they have issues, they need the pills and um, mental health, psychiatry, and all that. So we would happily tell them to go and see somebody because you're a woman, right? So I understand you have issues. Allah made you weak, all of these things that we say to them. But what about us? We are no, I don't think men are overwhelmingly ready for that. That they,
Hmm.
even if for example, if a brother says to another one that maybe you should go see a professional, and they say, well, I'm not weak. What do you think? Who do you think I am? I don't need
Right.
that. And you might even stop talking to that brother because you're like, oh, this guy is gonna make me feel weak in front of the community. So I
Right.
think it's we need to work a lot on this. We're very early in this.
So you mentioned parenthood, young parents, and people with kids, and I will go ahead and say this. Early days, I used to use this phrase. I mean, don't cry like a girl. Probably first 2, 3 years of my elder one, then I kind of stopped because I realized that no, this is not right. I still see this behavior a lot. There's so many things I've had to change. I've had to convert from just gender specific to gender neutral when it comes to it. So far as recently, my elder one shared something, and oh, he had a meltdown after a soccer game. And we were coming back from the soccer game, and he was just going crazy, man. Some verbal assaults, and he just lost it. 7-0, the team lost. But and if I had been the same guy maybe 6 years ago, I would have said, "Well, you lost. Suck it up. Get over it." But over the course of last few years, I realized no. So I started, okay, it's natural. Let it out. It's just the two of us. It's a safe space. And for a few moments, I couldn't believe I was doing that because that was against everything I had been taught growing up. So I had to really force myself into, okay, let it out. Whatever anger you have, let it out. It's only natural. Just shouting, venting, even limited cussing is not going to make you a bad person. And that 20-minute ride from the ground to the home, uh, those are the only few things I told him, said to him, and I just let him vent. And then we didn't talk. He came home, had shower, had dinner, and then he came up, and to my surprise, and then he was like, you know what? It helped. So for letting me vent and saying whatever, and I came home and told my wife, okay, let's not talk to him for a few minutes. Let him come to us. And that was a learning curve for me as a father also, which I didn't have when we first had him in first 3, 4 years of his life. So how hard is that for young parents and then for also parents whose kids are now older to adapt these behaviors?
I think, mashallah, that's brilliant actually, to handle a situation like that. So I would say kudos to you, mashallah, because I think or reactive mode is always to tell them how to do it, but to let them do it on their own is makes them feel heard. I think most of the time kids don't feel heard. They feel we've always been giving instructions. We are always being given instructions. So, mashallah, I think it's a great strategy that parents should adopt. Secondly, I would say it's very hard because most of the time we unconsciously even we are repeating what our parents did because that's what we've seen. Even though while we are about to have a kid or we always think, no, we're going to be different than them. But most of the time, we end up doing the same things unconsciously because you're not, and it requires a lot of patience. I think with young parents, as a community, as they say, it takes a village. The village has to be very patient and supportive because, as you know, you've been through it, I'm going through it. A lot of the times, as a parent, you're stressed out, you're not sleeping enough, and that has a lot of effect on your mood, your hormones, all of that. So I think it's very important to be kind and more affectionate towards young parents as a community. But as parents, yes, obviously it's emotional intelligence that really needs to come because what you're doing is you're raising again the next generation of community leaders, right? So
Yes.
especially, mashallah, you being a father of boys, males, this is so important even more because they are in Islam, and also mashallah our sisters are doing great. They're actually what I've seen in my experience. I think masajid and communities are mostly run by sisters behind the scenes.
Yep.
70% of operations and day to day, they are taking the lead. So, Alhamdulillah, we don't have to worry about them, but it's the boys that and the young men that are, inshallah, Allah has given them that status to lead, be the imam and all of that. So they need that even more. And if you go online, I just want to bring this, that the non-Islamic content that's out there, for example, we have a thing called red pill, right, going on right now, where toxic masculinity is at its peak, treating women and seeing women as objects or something lower. But that's not part of our deen, and I think it's very important that we bring parents need to bring that, let the children know, because sooner or later they are going to discover this type of content. And
Yep.
mashallah, a lot of people are getting back on track, but mostly this is out there, right? So we have to save them from that by bringing in the Islamic knowledge of how we see women and how we need to respect our mothers, sisters, wives, and daughters. And of course, if they are not emotionally intelligent today as a child, if we don't hear them today, they are going to become something else tomorrow. And obviously, we can't have that happening, inshallah.
Yes. So jumping over into the Islamic context and the religious and on a community level, I want to call out one masjid that I've recently close by and the timing match. So I offer Jummah there, Alhamdulillah now. Uh,
Mashallah.
they don't tell kids to shut up and sit down. They let kids play inside the masjid. They let kids talk, they let kids play basketball, soccer, and I was surprised. My mind was blown when I first saw that. But what that does is, and they even go as far as making kids pray in the first row, where I have seen in so many masajid, kids from first row are pulled back. Oh, you go to the third, fourth row. And that just crushes all motivation that the kid has. So this one masjid, this is in Prosper, ICPC, I believe. I just want to give a shout out there. How important the role of our Islamic centers, masajids, it is from a behavior perspective to invite, not just invite kids to the masjid, but when they are in the masjid, invite them into conversations. How critical is that right now?
What ICPC and Masajid of this kind of mentality are doing is not only important, but actually essential for the survival of Masajid in this country. And they have realized that from the beginning. Um, I've definitely seen a lot of communities that are taking this approach. And if they don't take that approach, then they can expect the masjid to be shut down in maybe less than 10 years, because these kids need that the most. Why are Masajid investing in basketball courts? Right? Before I came to America, never thought about a basketball court in the masjid. Have you? Right? Why are there multi-purpose halls and mashallah, this and that going on?
A
Right?
bonfire happening in Frisco Masjid.
That's
Yeah.
right. Right. Bonfire, mashallah, careers, openings, and kids are, they have their own Instagram pages now, the youth, right? You usually have a
Mhm.
masjid at the youth. So it's survival, because at the end of the day, this is not a social club for men, for old desi uncles to hang out, right? That's you want to go there, go to the chai house or go to your favorite restaurant. But this is the survival for our kids. If they don't feel welcome, because out there, look at the high schools, right? They provide everything. I'm talking about if you're living in the suburbs, or
Right.
if you take them to some amusement park. So they see the dunya, they see all of that. But when they come to the masajid, if they are being treated as a second class citizen, then obviously if you're in the third row and they're like, I don't feel welcome here. As a child, this has happened, right? A lot of Muslim boys and girls left Islam because they were treated like that.
Yep.
We don't know them, but it's the treatment first. And if we go back to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it's the way he treated people that made them feel that Islam is the answer to all their problems. It's the ikhlaq. If there's no ikhlaq, then forget about it. The a lot of the reverts, for example, Muslim reverts men, for example, they are coming into Islam. Mo Mostly it's because of the research that they're doing, and then there's a lot because of how they get treated. That's another issue that we can talk about,
Right.
but yeah.
Yep. So one thing I want to mention, I heard this yesterday in khutbah, Jummah khutbah. 33 people, the Imam Saab mentioned this number. 33 people embraced Shahada in the time of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam without even speaking with him. They never spoke with him. They were just sitting in the same mehfil as he was, and there was no direct interaction between me and Suhail, and they embraced Islam. So exactly going back to what you just said. So now jumping over to Muslims. As a Muslim male, Muslim father, Muslim parent, uh, what can be the starting points of us getting this going? Let's start there. An absolute starting point. I have no idea how to go about this, or what is something that I can do as a Muslim male, Muslim parent, Muslim professional to start peeling this onion of mental health in our society, especially for men.
Well, first of all, I think we it has to come from the mentality. So my mindset is that talking about men, for example, that we don't need to think of them as they need to be fixed or they don't need fixing. What they need is a safe, non-judgmental space where they can just be themselves. Like you did with your son, for example, mashallah, that you didn't immediately start fixing, stop cursing and astaghfirullah and be a man and all of that. You gave him a space, a safe space, non-judgmental. And mashallah, look how that, it's a great example. I think we should all learn from it that if you can do that with your son, we can do that with our friend, with our brother, at the masjid and all of the communities. First of all, for example, I'll take myself, I just sometimes want to be heard. But obviously, I think it's again coming back to the fact that being part of the community is very important. I was just hearing a podcast yesterday of the brothers, they were talking about how just being around people, being at the masjid, even if you're not talking to somebody, your mood just becomes better. And when you're alone, it the shaitan starts whispering and starts making you feel like you're worthless, you're this and that. So I think sometimes pushing yourselves, even if you don't feel like, even if your shaitan is telling you or your mood is bad, just go out there, just spend some time in the masjid. I think that's the first step.
So I guess it's just like going, I heard this recently and it makes perfect sense. About 3, 4 months ago, I started trying to apply it, though I haven't been as regular when it comes to gym. This one guy said in his reel, just go. Just go. Even if you go for 15 minutes, you walk around and you leave, just go, and you will see the difference in about a week. And it actually made sense. There were days where I didn't want to go. I was like, you know what, let's just go walk around and see. And when I went inside, I felt so bad that I got out of bed. I stopped watching whatever I was doing. I left my chai and whatever, and I come here. I need to do something. So I still did a few things and then I left. So just like that, I guess, just go. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what I'm going to do there or who I'm going to talk to, whether I need to read Quran or not, or whether I need to read any nafal or not. Just go, and then you will see something happening over the course. I guess it fits perfect analogy, I guess.
It's changing the environment.
Mhm.
So it has a big impact on your mindset and your heart when you change your environment. I think the obviously your home, your safe space is the most comfortable environment. And unfortunately, that starts having bad effects as well. You're too comfortable. And that is also the death of progress. So when you change your environment, you just go there, you just look at people, and it definitely makes a big difference, like it had on you. And I think that's what the masjid does sometimes. That's what hanging out with like-minded people does. And it's a process of healing It's obviously we have mental health issues. Everybody has that to some degree, even though even if we're not diagnosed, we're not taking antidepressants, everybody has some level of stress, something that we're concerned about, how we're, but again, Islam teaches us how do we handle that. So emotional intelligence, your connection with Allah, I think that's something that we really need to work on as Muslim men, for example, that uh, sometimes, you if you don't have that connection with the Quran, you're not getting the message. So, for example, the other day I went to pray, and after the prayer, I hadn't opened the book for a long time. I just opened
Mhm.
the book and immediately I got the message that I was looking for, that whatever I'm dealing with in life. And I was like, SubhanAllah, this is a miracle. This is so that connection with Allah is very important. But then some Allah has his ways of bringing you back to him. Sometimes it's through the book, but why is being part of the congregation, being part of the ummah so much emphasized in our deen? I do believe it's because it has direct impact on your mental health and your performance as a leader in the community, or as a contributor, or as a servant of the community. So I do believe that healing, where it begins when you hear that you're not alone. So
Right.
when you get to talk to someone, it makes a big difference.
And I think also, and this I've seen, I want to share this here. So many people who might be thinking, "Oh man, I've done so many bad things over the course of life. I think I'm beyond a redemption, or I don't think I'm going to be able to go back." Fact of the matter being, if you're still standing, if you still are able to do things in your life, still have friends and family, then that is a sign from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that, bro, you got time. I'm right here waiting for you. Just because you've done so many crazy things, so many bad things, regardless of the extent of those bad things, the fact that you're still breathing means you have time. So I'm still standing here, right? I mean, behind you. All you have to do is just turn around and just talk. So I guess that mindset has needs to be instilled also across the community, because there's so many people who think that way. Oh man, I've done so many bad things during my young years that now I don't think I'm going to be able to go back. So we need to really do that. So from individual to collective now, you mentioned brotherhood, you mentioned ummah, you mentioned masajid. So talk to me, educate me, like you did the other day. We spoke about it briefly. What is this Bukhari retreats? And I have a feeling of what it is, collective brotherhood, zikr. So tell us about it, and how does this fit into potentially the big picture of brotherhood and men's mental health and everything.
Yes. So, first of all, after seeing this firsthand on the journeys, that sometimes men are in the masajid, but they still need more. They need that connection. Because most of the times what I've seen is that we would come to the masjid, pray, say salam to someone who you might or might not know, and then you will
Boom.
leave, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're so busy they don't have time to come to the halakha, or the barbecue or the breakfast or whatever events are happening at the masajid. So what happens is I realized that we we need to take the brothers, men, for example, especially, to out there in nature. Their sisters that are already doing this, mashallah. And that's why I respect our Muslim sisters so much, that they are always taking the lead, right? Where it's due. And obviously, sisters need that, so they're doing that. And mashallah, they are going all over the nation and beyond America as well. They're hiking mountains, Mount Kilimanjaro or Mount this and that, mashallah. And it's so inspiring. I'm like, if our sisters can do this, right? We need to, again, we need to come back to who we are, which is
Right.
obviously our mental health is so important. So I thought that this is the best time to take the brothers, get a break, because sometimes men need break from their families as well. I'll tell you an example of myself. Mashallah, every day you're in responsibility mode. You have to take care of yourself, your iman, your spouse, your kids. So you're running around all day. And then the community, being part of the community, takes a toll too, spending so much time interacting with everybody. So, but when I was in the mountains, I lived in Colorado for 5 years. There's something special that when you are one with the nature, and when you really feel the existence of God because it's right there. And I thought a lot of brothers who are living in cities, for example, they don't get to experience this part of, for example, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to go away from the city to Gare,
Right.
right? You've been there. I saw that beautiful vlog you made,
Yeah.
mashallah. Look how amazing the view is from up there, the isolation and all of that. And something happened there. The miracle happened. Ikra happened, and then we all know what happened, mashallah. So I think it's very important for Muslim men to reconnect with nature, with the deen, and having a safe space with other brothers where we can be vulnerable. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's courageous. It starts the process of healing. And I don't want to turn it into a scholarly lecture retreat because, mashallah, the scholars are already doing that. We need
Right.
a space where we can talk to each other. We can be, uh,
Open up and be ourselves, casual ourselves.
exactly. And being in the ages that we are, 30s, 40s, we have a lot to share that we can't anymore with anybody else. So having that safe space, and also there's a lot of younger brothers as well who are in their universities, for example, about to graduate. They want to get married. They need that mentorship as well from experienced brothers who are older than them. So
Right.
having that connection with different age groups, different backgrounds, all under the umbrella of Islam, and not just lectures and all of that, but actually having the shared sense. We have a lot of revert brothers who are coming, inshallah. We have African American, Caucasian, Latino brothers who don't have that connection. Again, we couldn't uh, go deep into this, but that's a reality of America where a lot of people are reverting to Islam, but they
Mhm.
don't have a community. And they are riders, or they like adventure, or they like to drive. And this is the best opportunity for them to reconnect with people from other faiths. Last year, when I did a retreat, mashallah, the video is out there. The brothers that joined, one is a revert and one is, mashallah, a young brother. And
Wow.
they met through this for the first time. They became friends, mashallah, and now every week this brother is teaching the other Quran online. And he's learning Arabic from him, mashallah. He can
Wow.
find that locally in his community. So I realized that this can have the impact in real life beyond my
Right.
scope, mashallah. So that's the whole idea. If anybody wants to join, inshallah, you can check out the details at BukhariRetreats.com, and we can go from there, inshallah.
Absolutely. And yes, the profound long-term impact where, I mean, guys, males, Muslim males can interact without any fear of judgment or not getting reciprocation. Uh, it really does open you up. Oh, I mean, he's not going to judge me. Even if he judges me, who cares, man? There are no strings attached. So that really does go a long way. Fantastic. I do want to ask, you've, mashallah, visited 100 masajid, probably more than that. What has been one thing that you have seen when you have visited and met people in different communities across the country, Muslim brothers and sisters, maybe one theme that you have seen that that really gives us that courage and hope that, okay, you know what, we got this. We got this, and we can only build on this as a community, and tying it back to how we can help us brothers.
I think the best thing that I saw in every state, mashallah, is that the people behind the scenes. We have a lot of famous people here, mashallah, in America, the scholars and everybody that everybody knows, household names. But the people behind the scenes, the board, some of the board members, not everybody, we have that issue. I want to acknowledge the fact that there are certain board members that have ego issues and they want to be like, all right, I'm the boss, I'm the man, and all of that. We know, we are aware of that. But then I've seen real sincere people that truly only Allah knows and the angels know, and they
Right.
know who they are, what they're doing. They are so selfless, and some of them don't even want to come in front of the camera, but they have literally gone through such sacrifices that people go through in third world countries to make the masjid, the community happen. And that gave me a lot of hope, because to be someone who doesn't even want to be recognized out of humility, that is some level of humility that I really respect. And I feel that their sacrifices in California, in Michigan, in Texas, and even Alaska, mashallah, that this will have, they have planted the seeds, and the barakah, the rain of barakah, inshallah, will happen. And the next generation will hopefully, that's my dua, take advantage of that. Because I want to give a shout out especially to a masjid, MCC East Bay in San Francisco Bay Area in Pleasanton. Mashallah, the brother Munir, for example, I got to meet him. He's so busy all the time. Mashallah, the whole board is, but they really uh, are working enormously over there. And that's the same masjid of Dr. Rania Awad and mashallah, all these amazing other speakers over there. So
All right.
I feel very, very positive about the future,
Mashallah. All
inshallah.
right. Good. And I guess one of the things that you just hit, and I want to say it out explicitly because I have been thinking about it. I mentioned this to one of my friends, probably. There's something I should do. Get involved, not just alone, with my son in the masjid, maybe 1 hour every week volunteer, so that we hear about volunteering outside at job or at some shelter anywhere. But if we start doing with our Islamic centers and get engaged there with the children, that not only creates that bond that, okay, we're not just going for namaz, but we're also staying there and he's going to learn from me. I'm going to learn from him. Probably I'm going to learn from him more than he will learn from me because of the way times are moving now. So I guess that is another way we can help ourselves in this stage of our lives where to minimize those mental health issues because now we are, as Lama Iqbal said, "Khalat ko ghulami se azad kar." So we're trying to learn from these youngsters in our own setting which we've learned from childhood. So I guess this is something we can throw out there for everyone. Something that hit me. I thought I'd share this with everyone.
Yeah, I wanna actually, that just reminded me of something that I saw in real life as well. That I think it's a great example, because when I was in Denver, Colorado, there's a downtown Denver masjid, and it's in the inner city. So you can imagine how the circumstances are over there. But every week, mashallah, they have a food distribution program. So the Muslim community gives funds to the masjid, and then they buy the food, halal meat, and all of that, and they distribute to the Muslims or non-Muslims, whoever signs up, who are struggling. And I went there one day and I saw, mashallah, the volunteers, which were Muslim families. And I saw the sister who had brought her three young daughters, right? And this sister, she lives in the suburbs, half an hour, 40 minutes away, right?
Wow.
To and we don't have masajid over there in the suburbs south of Denver.
Right.
To drive all the way to downtown Denver in the inner city, you are, I know the mentality, so you are coming out of your comfort zone, making sure your kids see this and do this. So the young daughters were helping, mashallah, and then to go back and do this maybe every month or every week, mashallah, that was really inspiring to see that wow, these young girls or young boys, mashallah, they're gonna really appreciate the value of not only what they have, but also being part of the community and serving the community. It's not
Right.
always about, man, wow, the kirat was amazing tonight, and I'm gonna go have my Yemeni coffee with the boys now. No, no. This is like when you're volunteering, there's a huge difference. That's why I respect the volunteers at the masajid. They do it for the sake of Allah, not for a badge. So, mashallah, I think it's very, very important to involve your children from early ages to
Mm.
all of these volunteering opportunities.
All right, fantastic. Yes, Suhail read it right on the head. So, as we wrap it up, Suhail, any parting thoughts in context of all that we spoke about and how to move on from where we are to make things better? As a person, as a father, as a Muslim man who, mashallah, has traveled, meets so many people, continues to do so, impacts and still learning. What would be your thoughts as we draw a conclusion to today's session?
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you, Brother Umar, for having me. I think this is a great initiative where we actually get to talk about things that are a priority. Most of the time, we don't see it as a priority, and that's where issues begin to happen. I think emotional intelligence is something we really need to work on. We really need to see how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam he handled things emotionally, intelligently with his family, with his community, and we have a lot to learn from the Sira. And then secondly, I think the masajid can definitely do a lot more to make it not only, when you say mental health event, nobody's going to show up. So I think just what I've learned from my, YouTube, making the title catchy and all of that, we have to do that. We have to put some masala on it to bring more people in, inshallah, so that people enjoy it at the same time. It doesn't need to be all academic and all. We need to make it more accessible to people so that they have a good time while they get to get the lessons. And secondly, I think it's a lot of healing. We live in a very stressful time, actually. There's a lot going on with Gaza, Palestine, the world. So it does have a lot of impact on our mental health. The economy is in shambles. There's, what we talked about is something that's happening universally, but all of this is happening at the same time, which does have a effect on the mental health of everybody. So I think again, reconnecting with the Quran and Sunnah makes it easy for you to navigate what we are going through. But then again, the whole point is that we need to connect with each other. The more we meet and find the type of people that are like-minded, and I know, again, until we don't find them, it's better to not spend time with people who waste your time. But Alhamdulillah, that's why I appreciate you, mashallah, that we find people like yourself and we get to experience and navigate these times. But again, my last message would be that the more men heal, the softer and safer our communities become, inshallah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. And what I'm going to share is my couple of takeaways coming out of this conversation. Suhail mentioned this, no judgment. When guys want to talk, start talking, they have to talk, they have to share. Put the judgment cap aside and just listen, because very seldom they will talk. Very seldom they will share what they feel. Mostly they will share what they think. When 1 out of 10 times they start sharing what they feel, you want to pay close attention to without having to respond. So you absolutely have to put your judgment cap aside when males, regardless of their age, status, are saying, feeling saying. So that's one thing. Second thing, you mentioned we absolutely are living in the times where we want ourselves and we want to educate our kids to be proud, objective Muslims. Be proud of our identity as Muslims. Even Prophet ﷺ went through depression, went through mental struggles. Allah Ta'ala brought down a surah for that. So we are by no means free of that issue. So we absolutely have to be proud Muslims, identify as proud Muslims, and as Suhail mentioned, and as everyone should know, Quran. Absolutely reading Quran, but because of we want to understand Quran, not just reading it in Ramadan, just reading the Arabic 30 days, 30 paras. No, to understand it, even if it is one verse, and apply it to today's life. Critical thinking on basis of Quran is going to help us, our Gen Zs, our Gen As, so much. We absolutely have to keep that in mind. With that, thank you very much, Suhail, for an amazing session today. I really appreciate everything you're doing and the fact that you were able to take time from your Sunday morning and share with me your thoughts, your perspective, your feelings. I really do appreciate that. And hopefully, we can carry these conversations. For all you who are watching, really appreciate your time, your comments, your suggestions, some hearts coming through. I will be uploading the recording for this on YouTube also, but you will still be able to find this live stream once it does end. If you have any comments or any suggestion for topics for future sessions of Boys Don't Cry, please do not hesitate to share with us because this is an ongoing discussion that we need to have in an organic manner. No fluff, no BS, no whining. Uh, no, nothing of that sort. We want to talk from a solution-oriented perspective. With that, till next time, take very good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.